both fit in here. So the Saab is back in the garage after being claimed by that over there. It's now back in the garage because yeah, I'm gonna be doing a big project. And I didn't want to be outside when I did it. So if you've watched my last video, was the steering boot repair. I got a lot of nice comments from them, and I'm thankful for each one. But I had one person in particular, which I can't pronounce his name, so I'm just going to put it in text on the video. I don't want to butcher his name. He left two very good comments saying that the video was good, but I wasn't actually done and I didn't fix the problem. So I read his comments, and what he was saying is the steering boot on the steering rack is not supposed to fill up with fluid. It's filling up with fluid because one of the seals in the steering rack itself is leaking. The steering boot is just supposed to keep dirt and dust out. So I have to actually go in and replace the seals on the rack, and that means taking the steering rack out. And according to a good old Bentley, it's possible to do this. It's got step-by-step instructions on what to do, which I will be following, and I'm gonna try to do this. But yeah, he basically said that I wasted all that time and effort replacing that boot, which kind of sucks because there was a lot of suffering to get that rusted nut off. I'm glad he said something because I probably would have driven the car. Well, not really, but eventually I would have driven the car and it would still leak and I would have no idea why. But now I know exactly what would happen if I kept going. So I'm gonna actually try my best to get that rack out, and that'll just be part one. Rebuilding it is gonna take a lot of research, but I'm gonna try to at least get it out of the car. Jeez. Oh wow, actually worked. By the way, if someone asks if I marked where this adjuster was at, I didn't, and I'm not going to, because I'm going to get the car aligned after this no matter how good I get it to the original setting. Ow. Oh, by the way, this doesn't, the ABS fuse box doesn't require anything to get it on and off. incoming humongous mess. Hope this plug fits. I'm scared. Yep, here it comes. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. I didn't have a better plug, so I used whatever fit. Seems to work. Man, I haven't even started the engine yet. The book says to start the engine to pump out the rest of the fluid. But there's a lot going, even with the car off. Last thing you saw was me putting the return hose, which goes here. This is just the cap. The return hose into a quart jug for the fluid. And the instructions say to start the engine and then turn the steering wheel until all the fluid comes out. And I had to stop where I was at, and I just left the hose in the jug, and I came back a couple days later, and this thing is entirely empty, and I didn't start the engine once. So yeah, I guess that's another way to do it. I didn't want to have to cut this, but the screw was in a way that I couldn't get a tool on it, so I'm just going to cut this and replace it with something else when I put it back together. Can reach the bolt from here, no problem. It was nearly impossible to do this from on top of the car or underneath, but from down here, it's right there. Nice. I got this tip when I read online because I was having so much trouble that I decided to see what other people did, and this option came up and looks pretty good. The guy on the forum that I read this trick from, he did say to take the driver's seat out, and I see why, because I'm wedged in here pretty bad and it's painful. But I'm lazy, so I'm not going to do that. Why make my life easier when I can make it harder, and then I can complain on camera about it. Okay, it's been a couple weeks since I last worked on this, so I don't remember what I last showed, but I did some reading on this job, and turns out that these two lines, which I disconnected, I'm going to leave disconnected, but I did not mention this one right here. This one needs to be removed. An 18 millimeter wrench fits on it, but this is the This hose right here goes to the power steering pump and it's connected to it, so this needs to be removed before the rack can be pulled out. I unbolted the whole steering rack and I just manhandled it enough where I could turn it over just a bit and I can get my fingers on this fitting after I was able to loosen it with the wrench. If you do this, this is an incredibly tight fit. Oh yeah, be prepared for fluid once you've loosened it enough. This is after it gravity drained itself. There's still going to be some left in the rack. Just be ready for it. This is future me fixing past me's mistake of not filming how to unbolt the rack. I'm editing the video as I filmed this and I realized I didn't show it. So here's a future shot of the rack already removed, but these are the bolts that bolt the rack to the car. There's two of these. And to get this off is you're going to need a wrench on here to hold this one. And then underneath the car you can see this one, which I unearthed with a screwdriver because it was so crusted. And then a ratchet and a wrench. This will loosen and it should pop right out. This is actually one of the easier parts, so maybe that's why I didn't show it, but I figured I should be thorough. After staring at this thing for like 2 hours, I think I finally figured out how I got the steering shaft off the steering rack. I got it loose from inside the car. I took the bolt off completely, and then it was sliding up and down on the shaft, and there was like a little keyway. There it is. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but there's like a little keyway in the shaft. And I just shoved my giant screwdriver into there and I pushed up and it actually just popped right off. Well, I can get this off finally. Look at all that room. It's hard to tell from here, but that fitting I can't get off the power steering rack is this hose right here. And I figured if I can't get it off the rack end, I'm going to try disconnecting it from the other end. And I followed it. And it goes back to this. And I'm just going to take the hose off from here. Let's see if this works. Oh jeez, holy moly. This came flying out. Woohoo! Yeah. It was recording, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, look at that. Worked like a charm. Woo! there it is, the prized catch. I'm gonna spend some time cleaning this thing off. This has 30 years of gross road grime. Look at this, all this. This is all road grime. There's some metal under there. So I'm gonna spend some time cleaning this up and then figure out if I'm just gonna attempt to rebuild this or if I'm just gonna send it somewhere to get rebuilt by a third party, because I don't know if I can do it. What I've read so far needs some special tools or something, but I'll see. Okay, I know it's not a perfect clean, but this video is already very overdue. So I'm just going to end it here. I'm going to start editing it, posting it hopefully soon. The rebuild is going to be a separate video, because this already was a huge undertaking, and I still have to see if I even want to even attempt the rebuild.